Hello, everyone. A quick thought for Erev Shabbat, Parshat Tazria-Metzora. If you're watching this on Friday, the 19th day of the Omer. There's a custom during the Omer between Pesach and Shavuot. In the 6 weeks from between the end of Pesach and Shavuot, 6 Shabbatot, there's a custom to learn one of the 6 chapters of Pirkei Avot, each of those Shabbatot. This week is the second chapter, and I wanted to share a brief thought. Around the middle of the second chapter, we're introduced to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who's sort of a very important figure in the Mishnaic period. He sort of becomes the figurehead of the rabbinic community after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, when they sort of really needed to regroup. He brings them to Yavne, and he sort of recreated places of Torah study and scholarship. And the Mishnah records that he has 5 students, right? So it's part of his rebuilding process. And he gives them all nicknames. And I wanted to talk about the first and the last and a little bit about what maybe they can tell us about our Torah learning. So his first student that he mentions is Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus. And Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus, he says, is a bor sud she'eino ma'abed tipa. He's a sealed cistern that doesn't lose anything, doesn't lose a drop of water. We might call that he has a steel trap mine, but it's passive, right? He receives information from his teachers and he stores it all. And this is a feature of Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus that appears in other stories as well, right? He's very, very committed to his traditions and to reproducing them exactly. In contrast, the 5th student, Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai calls him a different kind of water metaphor. He calls him Ma'ayan Hamikaber, which is a spring that's kind of overflowing or growing. And in some ways, it's kind of the opposite, right? It doesn't have reliably contain anything because the water is moving around, but it is generative and creative. And I think, especially at a time of crisis like Bnei Israel were facing then, or not Bnei Israel, the Jews, right, were facing then, and really for all of us, both of these modalities are important to Torah study, right? One is preserving what we receive, and the other one is being able to create more. I think hopefully we find a balance between those in our studies and hopefully also in your lives. And I wish you a great Shabbat.